Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 608 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin's figure suddenly appeared at the edge of the mountain sea. With one step, he merged with the world and disappeared. Only when Wang Lin was far away from the mountain sea continent, at the mountain sea forest continent, did he appear above an ancient pine forest. He floated above the forest and looked behind him. Earlier, he had used sundered night to awaken the broken palm, then he escaped without hesitation. When he came out, he vaguely felt three powerful auras that could break the world looming there. Combined with his earlier speculations, it wasn't difficult to guess who they were. Wang Lin sat down on top of the pine tree and took a deep breath. The world here was very large and much more comfortable than inside the light curtain. There must be some secret with the broken palm. I gained a lot on this trip to the mountain sea tree. Aside from the spirits, I also gained a fragment of the celestial ancestor's sword. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. There was a hint of golden light in his hand. I couldn't absorb it inside Empyrean Exalt High Z's light curtain. Now that I'm free, I will fuse it with the fragment in my eye as soon as possible. Wang Lin had considered what the Grand Empyreans would ask him, but since they had let him leave, that meant he must have passed their test. In a flash, Wang Lin's body became a blur and slowly fused with a pine tree below. In the ancient tree, Wang Lin sat down and took out the last two mountain sea tree spirits. During these past several years, my wood essence has reached completion and I can feel the wood essence in the world around me. I have two spirit lefts, but I don't know if I can create an essence true body after absorbing them. However, this wood essence is a bit strange. After fusing it with my body, the absorption became slower and slower. I wonder when it will become mine. Wang Lin took out the two spirits and immediately fused them with his body to be slowly absorbed and refined. This matter is not urgent, and it will still take some time to absorb them. I need to focus on absorbing the sword fragment, then consider my next action. Wang Lin's right hand moved and the sword fragment he had risked his life for appeared in his hand. The fragment gave off endless golden light. This fragment was the size of his palm and its edges were irregular, but it gave off a sharp aura, as if it could cut anything in the world. Staring at the fragment in his hand, Wang Lin's eyes also released golden light. In his eyes, the looming shadow of a sword fragment also appeared. The golden light coming from his eyes seemed to cross with the golden light from the fragment in his hand. A strange attraction force spread out from Wang Lin's heart. The feeling of something calling him echoed in his mind. As the feeling became even stronger, the sword fragment turned into countless golden light lines, as if it had melted, then they all flew toward Wang Lin's eyes. When the last golden light entered Wang Lin's eyes, the golden light coming from the pine tree disappeared completely and it was dark once more. Wang Lin sat there and calmly cultivated. Time passed slowly. As the sun and moon changed places in the sky, 7 days went by. It was autumn in the pine forest, and the sound of the pine needles in the wind sounded like countless people clapping. Leaves scattered with the wind like children leaving home. It was unknown where they would go. Cultivators passed by during these 7 days, but none of them knew that there was a cultivator inside one of the pine trees. During these 7 days of time, Wang Lin remained motionless, but a shocking, golden light was hidden behind his eyes lid. In his mind, countless years had passed during these 7 days. In his mind, there were two sword fragments that were fusing. Both were the size of his palm and had irregular edges. However, during the last 7 days, these two fragments had completely fused. With their fusion, a small, golden sword about 1 foot long appeared. The sword was very sharp and seemed to contain endless pressure. After it formed, it became even more solid in Wang Lin's mind. On the 8th day, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and a monstrous, golden light came from them. This golden light was several times more powerful than before, and the suppression force it carried felt solid. It was as if a sword had flown out and shattered the world. The pine tree Wang Lin was in was filled with this golden light. However, soon, the golden light coming from Wang Lin's eyes reduced inch by inch. After a few hours, all the golden light was condensed in Wang Lin's eyes, and none of it leaked out. Even his eyes were clear and didn't look abnormal. However, in this clarity, there was a hidden sense of strength and majesty. It was as if your heart would tremble and you would retreat before even battling if you met these eyes. This was the power of suppression. He was using the celestial ancestor's sword to suppress all life. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes and opened them a moment later. At this moment, even the hidden sense of strength and majesty disappeared. It was as if he had reached a level of returning to the origin. Celestial Ancestor's Sword, the peak of the metal essence. I didn't expect the fusion of these two sword fragments to cause the last essence, the metal essence, to appear. Wang Lin looked calm. Although this was sudden, he had some enlightenment after 7 days of refining. One fragment was equal to be absorbing the mountain sea tree spirit for several years. Wang Lin raised his right hand and waved. A total of 98 after images appeared and fused with his hand as he formed a fist. Waves of crackling sounds came from the palm of his hand. It was crisp but contained the aura of destruction. 9 black vortexes appeared in his fist, each containing a spell fused with his body. Before Wang Lin went to the mountain sea, he could fuse 9 spells into his attacks. Now he stared at his right hand and watched the 9 vortexes around his right first. Cracking sounds echoed as the 10th vortex appeared around the other 9. Should be more than 10. Wang Lin loosened his right hand and gripped once more. A muffled rumble echoed as the 11th vortex appeared. The 11th vortex meant that Wang Lin could fuse 11 spells into his attacks with just his original body. Once his essence true bodies appeared, Wang Lin's attack would contain 44 spells. His 5-element true body would copy his original and double his spells. Then his thunder essence true body would triple it. Finally, there were his ethereal essences. Although he hadn't formed an essence true body for them, ethereal essences were always more mysterious. Wang Lin's 3 ethereal essences combined were enough to allow this to happen. This multiplication was a battle method he had slowly comprehended himself as he battled others over the last 50 years. I should be able to do more, Wang Lin muttered as his left hand pointed at his right palm. With this, Wang Lin's body trembled and he let out a roar. The 12th vortex suddenly appeared around his right hand, and following that, the 13th vortex appeared. Wang Lin's breathing became a bit rough. He could feel that he had reached his limit. 13 spells. Without the soul armor, I can battle against an Empyrean Exalt that has fused 52 spells if I use my essences. I wonder if I can pass the 5th level at the Empyrean trial with my current strength. It should be enough. Wang Lin smiled. However, he had no intention of going to the Empyrean trial again. Wang Lin had made up his mind, he was going to shock everyone the next time he went in there. Attracting the attention of all the Grand Empyreans will depend on my second attempt at the Empyrean trial. Now there is no need to keep challenging other Empyrean Exalts. I need to head to the Eastern Continent, go to the Donglin sect, and see if the Donglin pool is the same as the one I saw in the illusion in the cave world, or if it's different. Wang Lin stood up and his eyes shined. I'll head to the Donglin sect and then head to the Empyrean trail the second time to see how many levels I can pass. After that, I will need to choose a Grand Empyrean, then I will head to my last stop in the Celestial Clan, the Imperial City at the Central Continent. After resolving the issue in the Imperial City, I'll leave the Celestial Clan and head to the Ancient Country. I'll find my teacher, Xian Luo, and complete my promise. Wang Lin took a deep breath and disappeared from the pine. He turned into a ray of light and flew off toward the distant Eastern Continent. I can feel myself getting stronger and stronger. Once I become a Grand Empyrean, it will be the day when I personally resurrect my wife. That day is not far away. It's very close, very close. It is very close. As Wang Lin charged forward, he revealed a rare hint of warmth in his eyes. That warm gaze contained thousands of years of unrepentant persistence. To the north of the Eastern Continent, there was a continent called Great Sage. The Great Sage continent was extremely remote and even more desolate than the Heavenly Bull continent, but this was only for cultivators. There were a lot of mortals on this continent and the land was good, so plants grew abundantly. The mortals on the great sage continent lived a good life. Rumors of celestials had been passed down through the mortals for countless years, so almost everyone worshipped celestials. They all wanted to become celestials. However, the sects on this continent rarely went out. Maybe this was due to how mysterious the number one sect of the continent, the Wang Lin sect, was. And all the other sects followed suit. They all covered themselves in layers of fog, but it was because of this that the mortals yearned it even more. The mysteries of the Wang Lin sect made them very low-key among the 9 sects and 13 factions. Their disciples rarely went out and most of them cultivated within the sect. There were many white clouds in the sky above the great sage continent. The clouds covered the sky almost year-round. The white clouds seemed to become part of the sky, and if there was a time when there were no clouds, the mortals would be quite surprised. At this moment in the great sage continent, outside a mortal city, there were nearly 100 people standing outside. They were being led by 3 or 4 old fellows who looked sickly bit filled with spirit. Their servants were supporting them, and they had waited for 2 hours. The rest of the people were all very patient, as if simply being here was glorious. They all looked into the distance as if they were waiting for something. However, it seemed they had waited for too long. After another hour, it was now noon. The hot sun shined on the earth, and even the wind was hot. Some of the people could not bear the suffering anymore. Even if they had strong hearts, the heat from the sun caused them to feel faint. One of the middle-aged men in a clerk robe that was near the front received a piece of ice from a servant. He placed it on his forehead and couldn't help but mutter a complaint. "Did Great Celestial forget to come here? We have been waiting here for almost 3 hours. It is now noon, the hottest time. How long do we have to wait?" A sickly old man in front heard the middle-aged clerk and immediately turned around to stare at the middle-aged clerk. "Shut up. Even if Great Celestial doesn't come, it is a matter of fact. If you don't want to wait, no one is forcing you." After being scolded by the old man, the middle-aged man revealed a flattering smile and was about to explain. HMPH, Great Celestial was willing to come here after this old man and a few friends begged him for a long time. Even at my age, I'm waiting here, not daring to show any disrespect, and someone like you doesn't want to wait. If the Great Celestial is offended, then your whole family can scram out of this city. The old man gave the middle-aged man a fierce stare. He took a servant's handkerchief that was covered in ice and wiped his forehead. Great Celestial is kind and is willing to lose time cultivating to travel the great sage continent. Who doesn't know his name? I heard the city of Lin invited the Great Celestial and then 7 children ended up being selected. Although 3 were sent back, 4 of them entered a celestial sect. Once one becomes a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. This is what the celestial said: once one becomes a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. If my grandson can enter a celestial sect, then I'm willing to give away all my wealth, another old man muttered with an excited expression. That's right, the city of Lin's Li Yuanwei is my friend, and the great celestial stayed in his home. His granddaughter was already in her 20s and, according to the rumors, it was impossible for her to enter a sect. However, due to Li Yuanwei's plea, the great celestial still took her away. I also heard about what the great celestial had said. Once one becomes a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. This line had become very popular across the great sage continent. The surrounding people all began to talk, and they seemed to envy those who got lucky. Just as everyone was excitedly talking and forgot the heat, a gust of wind blew by. The wind caused these 100 people to feel cool, and they all looked over. In the distance, a red umbrella hundreds of feet wide opened, and below it was a purple, bamboo chair. There were 4 burly men in golden robes carrying the chair. Around the 4 burly men were dozens of children. They were holding treasure bottles, whisks, or shining jades as they walked over. On the chair at the center sat a white-haired old man. He gave off the aura of a celestial and looked like a real celestial at a glance. He was clearly different from ordinary people. He wore a white robe, and although his hair was all white, he had skin as delicate as a baby's. At this moment, his eyes narrowed and a burst of light came from them. Celestial. Great Celestial. It's Great Celestial Jin. Seeing this, the hundred of people outside the city look excited and revealed feverish reverence. Those old fellows being supported by their servants pushed their servants away. They knelt down and began to excitedly worship. Great Celestial Jin Bao, help this mortal become a celestial. Great Celestial Jin Bao, descend to refine pills. Great Celestial Jin Bao, take our children to become celestials, the 4 men holding the chair up shouted in unison. Their voices seemed to fuse into one, and it seemed like they had practiced this a lot. At this moment, their voices spread out from the sky like celestial music to those below. Great Celestial Jin Bao, the immortal celestial. Great Celestial Jin Bao, mountain of the world. Great Celestial Jin Bao, reappearance of a sage. As the 4 big men roared, the children around them shouted one by one as well. Their voices continued to echo. The old man on the seat revealed a kind face, but that kindness contained a sense of might as he looked at the kneeling people below. He raised his right hand and waved his sleeve. With this, the world changed colors and the clouds in the sky scattered. The area within 10,000 kilometers was now clear sky. This kind of change in the sky completely startled the mortals below and caused them to feel even more awe and excitement. As he closed in, the white-haired old man revealed an undetectable flash of self-satisfaction. He had even fooled real celestials, and he had fooled far too many mortals in his life. But although he was proud, he still had to do what he had to do perfectly. This was his own strict requirement for himself. He raised his left hand and waved once more. An extremely luxurious palace appeared in the blue sky. Although it was only an illusion, under the sun at this time of day, it gave people the illusion that it was a celestial palace. There were even several celestial cranes flying out from the celestial palace. As they flew around in the sky, gusts of wind blew into the earth. The people below were all attracted by the strange scene above. They were also really far away, so they couldn't see the sweat appear on the old man's face. It seemed that this spell he created was a heavy load for him to cast. When the mood had reached its peak, the old man stood up. He waved his hand and a thunder-like voice echoed. Once one becomes a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. The moment the voice echoed, all the mortals kneeling below became excited and muttered along with the old man. Once one become a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. Outside the city, as the chair gradually descended from the sky, the white-haired old man smiled. The people kneeling in front slowly got up and were very excited to see the old man. Welcome, Great Celestial Jin Bao. Welcome, Great Celestial Jin Bao. It's fine, this celestial has always been easygoing. My time is limited, so I will only stay there for 3 days. In 3 days, bring your children to me to see if they have the fate of becoming a celestial and I'll take them with me. The white-haired old man smiled and his words were gentle. However, the more he acted like this, the more he gave off the aura of a celestial. The white-haired old man seemed to be used to these people's excited expressions. He smiled and felt a little proud in his heart. I, Jin Baozi, left my village when I was only 6 or 7 years old and cheated people along the way. So many years have passed and I have deceived so many people. I, Jin Baozi, was born different from other people. Not only am I talented, but even without a teacher or sect, I learned cultivation on my own. People like me are very rare. But it was worth the effort of deceiving someone to transport me to the great sage continent. The people here are simple and yearn to become celestials, which makes this place a treasure trove for people like me. And most importantly, no one in the same line of work has opened shop here. All I had to do was make up one line. Once one becomes a celestial, even chickens and dogs can rise to the heavens. And my path has been smooth. The old man smiled as he was greeted respectfully by the people of the city, and he entered the city. At this moment, in the great sage continent, tens of thousands of kilometers away from this city, ripples echoed in the sky and Wang Lin appeared. He looked around and his eyes lit up. This place is the great sage continent, where the Wang Lin sect is located. The Wang Lin sect has always been mysterious among the 9 sects and 13 factions. I wonder if they have an empire in Exalt. The tortoise shell and map jades Wang Lin had obtained had very little information about the Wang Lin sect. This was related to the fact that very few people from the sect would ever leave and communicate with other people. Since this sect is part of the 9 sects and 13 factions, it can't be average, but even if there are Empyre and Exalt cultivators, it is no problem. Wang Lin pondered and his divine sense spread out. Just as he was about to head toward the Wang Lin sect, he suddenly stopped. As his divine sense spread out, he felt a familiar fluctuation in a mortal city hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. He had placed this on the seals of all the incarnated people. He can't detect them from far away, but once he got close, he could sense the seals. This fluctuation, who could it be? Wang Lin smiled and had a hint of expectation. It was impossible for him to know who it was, like when he found Zhu Yi and Qing Shuang. He could only detect them. Unless he saw them with his eyes, it would be very difficult to see the person's identity. After all, the seal had been placed on everyone at once, so there wasn't much difference between them. He revealed a joyous smile. To meet an old friend in this foreign land would make Wang Lin happy, no matter who it was. In a flash, he changed his idea of going to the Wang Lin sect and flew toward the mortal city hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. With his cultivation level, he could cross hundreds of thousands of kilometers in a flash. As he got closer to the mortal city, the feeling became even stronger. He arrived above the city and looked down to see a white-haired old man with the aura of a celestial inside the city. He revealed a strange expression. This old man was the source of the seal fluctuation. Even without the fluctuation, Wang Lin could immediately recognize this white-haired old man's familiar face. Liu Jin Bao. Wang Lin's expression became even more strange and a smile appeared on the corner of his face. This Liu Jin Bao comprehended the Tao of deception, and after reincarnating, he walked the same path. With Wang Lin's insight and understanding of Liu Jin Bao, he immediately understood why Liu Jin Bao was surrounded by nearly 100 mortals. Looking at Liu Jin Bao's hidden sense of pride and the mortals surrounding him, Wang Lin couldn't help but smile even wider. However, part of this smile was a bitter smile from a headache. Deceiving mortals? Liu Jin Bao was someone who could deceive cultivators, so why he is deceiving mortals? There are fluctuations of cultivation coming from his body. He has reached the core formation stage over the years. Using his cultivation to deceive mortals, I wonder what he is thinking. Wang Lin frowned as he watched and pondered a bit. He didn't immediately awaken Liu Jin Bao's memory but watched how he deceived them. If Wang Lin didn't want others to notice him, very few people would see him. Liu Jin Bao, who had entered the city, suddenly trembled and felt like something bad was going to happen. This feeling was sudden, and he had never felt it before. He carefully looked around and at the sky. He blinked and was very surprised. Strange, why did I suddenly have this kind of feeling? I felt like a child who saw their parents after doing something bad. Strange. Liu Jin Bao frowned and suppressed his doubt. Luckily, this feeling lasted only for an instant. After entering the city, 3 days passed in a flash. During these 3 days, many famous people in the city had brought their children to see Liu Jin Bao. He looked at them with a kind gaze and left on the 4th day with 5 children. Among them were 3 boys and 2 girls. The oldest was 13 and the youngest was 8. During everyone's respectful and excited goodbyes, Liu Jin Bao brought the 5 children onto the chair and flew into the air. During these 3 days, Wang Lin had watched Liu Jin Bao's actions, and he was frowning. What exactly is Liu Jin Bao doing? He didn't cheat any property, he only took 5 children with the slightest bit of talent. Although they are somewhat qualified, no sect would take them. If he has any evil intention, I will not spare him. Wang Lin calmly followed Liu Jin Bao. Liu Jin Bao was sitting on the chair with a joyous expression. His gaze occasionally swept by the 5 children with an undetectable sense of joy. I didn't expect this city to have 5 suitable people. Ha ha, this is not bad. I can definitely earn a lot. The 5 children became nervous after being glanced at by him, but at the same time, they were filled with expectation. They aspired to enter a sect and become celestials. This was not only their thoughts, but the dreams of their parents and loved ones. Several days later, they arrived outside a mountain range. Liu Jin Bao stopped the chair and looked at his followers. "You all, wait for me to return." The 4 burly men and children all quickly nodded. The 4 burly men were at the foundation establishment stage, while those children were at the qi condensation stage. Most of them had been taught cultivation methods by Liu Jin Bao and had cultivated on their own. Liu Jin Bao took the 5 children in a black wind and disappeared. Wang Lin watched Liu Jin Bao from the sky. His expression was a bit gloomy as he followed. The black wind rushed through the mountains for a while and then appeared in a remote valley. This valley was not large and there were a few caves created. Liu Jin Bao sat down and the 5 children sat across from him. His eyes lit up as his gaze became serious and he looked at the 5 children before him. The 5 children immediately became extremely nervous and pale as he looked at them. However, they gritted their teeth and didn't cry. "Not bad. Actually, this old man didn't tell you the truth in front of your loved ones. Our talent is actually very bad and we barely qualify to cultivate. The reason this old man chose you was because your heart's determined. Cultivators aren't afraid of bad talent, and a determined heart is extremely important." The 5 children nervously looked at Liu Jin Bao and remained silent. Wang Lin was also silently pondering. No one had noticed him as he watched Liu Jin Bao and waited for him to continue. "Liu Jin Bao, if you cheat cultivators I don't care, but if you deceive these children, then I'll be disappointed." Wang Lin thought to himself. Liu Jin Bao suddenly said, "I'm a fraud." When his words came out, the 5 children were completely startled, even Wang Lin was shocked. "I'm a con man. I lied to your loved ones and brought you all here." Liu Jin Bao's expression didn't change as he spoke to the 5 children. His words were too shocking, so the 5 children could not react right away. They stared dumbfoundedly at Liu Jin Bao. However, Liu Jin Bao smiled as he looked around and continued speaking. "However, I can allow you to enter the Great Sage sect, but this matter requires you to make your own decisions. First, your talent isn't good enough to pass the tests set by the sect, so you won't be admitted as disciples. Although you have the qualifications to become cultivators, it would be too difficult to develop you. With my knowledge of the various sects of the Great Sage continent, they won't accept you or waste their time on you. I'm not lying to you about this." Liu Jin Bao paused when he got to this point. Wang Lin watched this and pondered. He knew that Liu Jin Bao was right. With these children's talent, it would be difficult for them to catch the attention of the sects. "But I have a method that allows you to deceive those who are assessing you to get you into the sect. It can even make your talent look extremely good. However, this is all fake. If you perform poorly after entering the sect, you will be found out. You will not face any life-threatening dangers and will likely not be expelled from the sect, but you will be forgotten. This is why I said talent is not important. What's important is for your heart to be determined." Liu Jin Bao continued to speak as he looked at the 5 children before him. "And because your talent is pretty good, I can trade you all for the materials I need from the sect. The better your talent, the better the initial treatment you get, and the better the reward I will get. But someone with a large amount of talent has a higher chance of being exposed. I can help you cheat the heavens to cross the sea to get you all into a sect. After that, it's all on yourself, and me earning from it is just a matter of fact. However, all of you have to consider it carefully. If you don't agree, I'll erase your memory and send you back to your loved ones. If you agree, then choose what kind of talent you want to enter the sect with. Excellent, good, ordinary, these are the 3 options. I suggest you choose ordinary to enter the sect. After all, I plan to do business for a long time and don't want to be exposed too much and end up being hunted." After Liu Jin Bao spoke, he slapped the bag of holding on his waist and took out some peanuts. He began to peel them and eat. Wang Lin revealed a bitter smile when he saw this. Liu Jin Bao was a con man in the past, and in this life, his deception skills seemed to be even better. Among the 5 children, 3 were scared and chose to go home. However, a girl and a boy revealed determined expressions. The girl chose ordinary talent, while the boy chose good talent. Liu Jin Bao gave the boy who had chosen good talent a profound look. Among the 5, he had the best talent and his heart was determined. His family was not rich but ordinary, and Liu Jin Bao had only noticed by him by coincidence. Liu Jin Bao nodded and erased the memories of the 3 children. The 3 children were sent out of the cave to outside the mountain, where his followers were. He also sent out a message to have his followers take the children back to the city to inform their relatives that they had failed to enter the sect. This video will end here.